Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. Interchangeable. Right. Okay, this is a little kind of a quickie update to talk about two things, basically. One is that this is a little update on the Hogarth show that we did last night. So now it's my Sunday afternoon, your Sunday morning for those of you that are watching in the United States. And you would remember the cards that I pulled, and I said Marjorie Taylor Green or Matt Gaetz or Mr Angry Birds man, the one with the eyebrows. I said they would go after McCarthy immediately, almost immediately. And I was just watching a bit of CNN today where they had him on and he was talking about getting rid of McCarthy. And then straight after, they had AOC on as well, Ocasio, of course, Cortez. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to link both of those videos in the description of this video below. But also as well, why I'm doing this little video here, hopefully it's only going to take 10, well, we'll see how long it takes because I'm going to pull some tarot. I also as well want to talk about ads on videos. So let me just go into a little description here because I've cleared them up now, but on the Hogarth last night, those of you that may have watched either in your evening or your early evening when the show went up, maybe not then, but maybe in the later evening before you went to bed, you would have noticed there was a lot of ads on that video. I think it was about 14 in the end. So let me explain. I'm now going to be referring to this as ad spamming. Yeah, ad spamming. And it's essentially, it describes a phenomena where YouTube puts a lot of ads on channels. So first of all, let me just say, and I think I can speak for the other YouTubers here. As you know, like if you think about it, unless you get a membership specifically to a person's channel, of course their content is free. So I think I can speak, for all the other YouTubers as well. The vast majority of the content that we produce is free. So of course, in order for us to run our channels, to be able to support ourselves, etc. and stuff like that, of course, we need ad revenue. And of course, so does YouTube as well. And they take around about a 30% cut of the ad revenue that we will get from our YouTube videos. But for YouTube Shorts, it's even more. They take about 40%. So I just wanted to put that out there so you understand. Now, what happens is they bid for slots for positions or to basically have the privilege of being on certain channels. Now, a channel can be monetized when a YouTuber reaches 1,000 subscribers. That's when you're described as a YouTube partner. For YouTube Shorts, I think it is that threshold has been shortened. And in fact, even now when I say 1,000, I think it might be less now. It might be 500. So that is part of how the whole system essentially funds itself. So, for example, say like with me, why are there sometimes so many ads? When a channel is popular and when particular content is popular, like Hogarth is, of course, many of you watch and many of you enjoy the show. And thank you so much as well for the love and the support and everything like that. It really does help. Now, what happens is us YouTubers, we have to enable the ads to appear. If we don't enable any ads, we don't get any revenue, and of course the video doesn't make any money. Yeah. And so when a YouTube video is enabled for ads, there's automatically an ad put at the front and the ad put at the back. That's just standard. Yeah. Where the ads are challenging, and even for me as a YouTube consumer, is when they're in the middle, which is called the mid-roll. Now, for me personally, for each YouTuber, their preference will be different, but I prefer to put maybe one, maximum 2 ads in the middle, yeah, separated apart. Normally, most of the time, I just do 1. However, when that ad feature section is enabled, there is over a period of time where YouTube or ad persons or whoever can place dung 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 a lot of ads in the middle. Now, usually I would pick these things up, of course, when it's on my own videos, when I do it on my own, because I do those at a slightly different time. However, as we know, I do Hogarth from midnight my time. So if you can imagine, think of how many people you know that start work at midnight, yeah? Not many, because it has to be at midnight to cover, of course, the evening slot in America, but also the morning section when Lena, when she's on the show, when she's in Australia, yeah? Because you've got to remember, the show is quite unique. It spans 17 time zones. That means I always have to be, unless I'm based in America myself or whatever, I always have to be up at midnight. So you can imagine the show runs for an hour, sometimes just after. So by the time I finish the show, it's 1 a.m. or ish. In fact, most of the time just after 1 a.m. when I finish. When I'm finished with the video, we also have to update certain things. We've got to put in certain descriptions, what the video is about, what the content is. So then when you're looking at the video, you can see what the video is about. I have to put all of that in manually, of course, and so do all the other YouTubers. While that's happening, the ad processing is happening as well. However, all the ads are not up yet by the time I've gone through all of that process. And of course, by this time, it's starting to be like 1:30 a.m. or 1:45. So of course, I need to sleep. I'm sure you'll understand that. So what happens is, while I'm asleep, that's when all the ads dung, 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 go on. And I know it can be a bit frustrating as well. Some of you, obviously, you go for the YouTube subscription, and you pay $9.99 a month, so you don't have any ads, which is fine. And then we, in some roundabout way, are supposed to get the revenue that way. So what I would say is, and I'll try and remember to mention it at the end of every Hogarth going forward, if you're watching a video at the time that there's a lot of ads on, it's because I'm asleep. And I've not had time to go through and click off those different ads, yeah? So there's two choices. Either you can just skip the ads, or one of the other options as well is to, many of you actually watch the next day with your Sunday morning coffee, which I really appreciate. Usually by that time, I've had a chance to move off the ads. If that hasn't happened, it's because I'm out somewhere, or because, you know, I've forgotten, because obviously you can imagine, it's like I have jet lag, yeah? Every Hogarth, as much as I love doing the show, it effectively does give me jet lag, because by the time I finish and the show's so energetic, normally I don't get to bed. I normally get to bed around about 2:30 or 3 a.m. with each Hogarth. It's impossible to go straight to sleep because I've still got work to do after the video is completed. And then one still has the energy of the show, and, you know, we have so much of a laugh and all of that kind of stuff. So what I would say is, I mean, and now look, the vast majority of you understand this and are very supportive of the channel, and you either watch, you just click through the ads and stuff like that. But because the show is popular, I wanted to show you that's why when the ads go on, if I'm asleep, which is where I'm usually am, that's why there's so many on there, because they want eyeballs, of course, to see their products or their services, etc. So in a way, it's kind of like a compliment, even though it's frustrating. One thing I do want to say though, and it's not really happened so much this time, but I've seen it in the past, some of you actually unsubscribe from the channel when there are adverts. And of course, each person has their own preference and stuff like that. But I would say, try to be considerate and thoughtful, because remember, all us YouTubers that have 1,000 subscribers or more are part of the YouTube program. Wherever you go on the internet, wherever you go. And the content is free. We have to take our own time to produce these videos. As you can see, look, I'm here in my living room like most people. It's not CNN, it's not MSNBC, it's not ABC, it's not Fox or whatever. We don't have big production teams, makeup, lighting. I mean, some of the you know, the big channels that, you know, maybe like 100,000 subscribers and over, yes, they can have this sort of thing, but sometimes even not even them have that kind of stuff. So, and again, this is the vast majority of you, you know, understand, you know, 99% of you understand, but there is a kind of a 1% of you or some that will literally unsubscribe from a channel when they see an advert. And I would just say, bear in mind, we put a lot of passion, effort, and time into creating the content, learning all the various different things and stuff that have to be learned. And sometimes, in a way, it can almost be a form of censorship, because, of course, for each less people that watch a channel, for example, you know, that's less, that channel becomes less viable. So what I would say is, if someone sees a lot of ads and you really don't like the ads, some people are going for the YouTube Premium. Not that, you know, this is not my plug. This is what people are telling me in the comments, which of course gets rid of the ads, but still supports people. Or you can just skip the ads, or wait until, you know, maybe like the next day, Sunday, when I've had a chance to go through and prune some of the ads. But what I would say, if there is just one ad or two ads in my YouTube, maybe just watch one or two. You don't even have to see it for the full duration. I think it's 10 seconds of it or something like that. That really helps. And I think that's a fair balance, because us YouTubers, we do have to, you know, we have to be able to support ourselves. And essentially that's what the ad revenue does. If I wasn't making ad revenue on my channel, I wouldn't be able to carry on with my channel. And I think that's very true for many YouTubers. Of course, it's different if you're retired or whatever and you've got other revenue coming in and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter so much. And you do have some people who I've seen, without naming names, who are retired, have an independent income, and kind of calling out some content producers for having ads on their channel. And it's like, well, you know, some of us have to work. Yeah, we don't have that. We don't necessarily have that passive income there. So all it's saying is, to each person's choice, but do try being kind and forgiving if you do see ads on a YouTube channel. It could also be the same scenario that I'm in as well. They've put up they've enabled the ads, they've gone to sleep, and then the ads have been put on during the night, and then they may not even realize that there's so many ads in their content, which is why I asked you guys to tell me whenever you see a lot, and I just go and correct it. But please, if you can, and again, I'm not, you know, this doesn't apply to 99% of you, but for those that unsubscribe just because a channel has ads, you know, you might want to think about that, because that content is for free and we have to support ourselves in some way. And it adds to the diversity of YouTube, because if YouTube only has people on it that can afford to not have ads, then that is going to obviously greatly deplete the variety and the content of those shows. So I just wanted to mention that there. So I hope that explains things. So just to reiterate, either skip the ads, wait to the Sunday until they're pruned, but once you see the ads are pruned, if you could watch one of them, that would be great, because it supports the channel. Right. So let's talk a bit now about what we were discussing on Hogarth last night, with the potential lockdown of the government, which of course was averted at the last minute because McCarthy essentially made a deal with the Democrats. And we said on the show, do you remember the cards that we got? And I remember reading my cards. I said, the knives have been sharpened. I said, they're not even going to wait. They're going to immediately attack McCarthy. So when you look in the video description, look for the one which is from CNN, where Matt Gaetz, Mr. Eyebrows, literally is talking to Thingybob, you know, whoever the host is, saying, right, they want to get rid of him before next week. And they said the only way he's going to be there next week is if the Democrats help them out. Okay, AOC was on next, and he asked her, are you going to help McCarthy keep his job? And she said, well, the Democrats are not going to give votes away for free. Yeah. So it's looking like McCarthy is in a little bit of a picklage going on. So let's pull some cards. First of all, I'm going to pull some cards on Matt Gaetz. Yeah. Because I said it would be either him or Marjorie Taylor Green. Now, obviously, MTG was the one that basically essentially helped bankroll McCarthy. Matt Gaetz has been far less supportive, as we know. So if anything, it's going to be him that's going to twist the knife. Oh, and just in a correction as well on the Hogarth last night, which I corrected in the description, when it came to members of GOP wanting to reduce people's salaries to $1, it wasn't MTG, it wasn't Marjorie Taylor Green. Someone told me in the comments that it was Boebert that put forward that thing. So I always want to be fair and correct the record. And even though it wasn't me that said it, of course, whatever happens on the show, either from Lena or Lady G or whatever, obviously becomes part of the show. And when you're on a live show as well, there's not enough time to fact check or do it's live, yeah, it's live TV. So but anyway, so for the record, that's corrected. So someone in the comments said it was Boebert that did that. The vote so far has passed in the House, but not yet the Senate. So I hope that the Senate will essentially vote it down, because, to act maliciously and reduce people's wages to $1 because you don't like their perspective is immensely cruel. And you could see Lena and I's shock when we learnt the news, because even though it wasn't MTG and it was Boebert, but the point is that motion is still put forward and it passed in the House, allegedly. So we'll see. Now, let's have a look at McCarthy and see what's going on. I'm doing this off my phone, so I'm going to pull some cards for him. Let's see what's going on. Because the likelihood of him lasting, he's a terrible speaker anyway. Really, it's best that he be put out of his misery, because he's just so incredibly weak. And AOC was saying the same thing, and so was Matt Gaetz. It's just, what craziness. But this is doing a lot of damage, though, to the USA's perceptions abroad, as AOC was saying, and can affect the credit rating as well. I also said as well that the US economy will likely change in the last quarter, and we are in the last quarter. There's a lot bubbling on. I don't have enough time to talk about it in this particular video. I'll deal with it in future videos, but I've already made these predictions anyway. So if you look back at some of those videos that I did, particularly with the astrology, I was saying that the economy would change. All right, so isn't this interesting? Wow, I've got very similar cards to what I got when I was talking about the USA economy last night. So McCarthy, here we are. Ace of Swords. So the sword of truth, the moment of truth has arrived. Yeah, at the end of the day, McCarthy just could not go on with the cray-cray and had to go to the Democrat side to have the government not shut down. However, the stay of the sword is only 45 days, from what I understand. So in 45 days' time, America's going to be back in this scenario again. However, this is a sword of truth moment, where really the writing's on the wall, and maybe in certain ways McCarthy's been exposed. But at least he decided, he had to side with the Dems to kind of, I can't say for the... We know all he cares about is his job, but at least there was a little bit of sense there. If we look here, 5-card spread. This card can be seen as the obstacle card, but look at this here. This is what I got when I was reading on what the caucus, the GOP caucus, would do for McCarthy. So here we have the Knight of Wands rearing up, ready to go again. So they're gonna They have it in for him, basically, which is mainly his fault. But this is about passion, surging forward and stuff like that. Look what's in the middle. Yeah, if we look here in the middle, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So he is now in a place of fate and destiny where he is reaping his karmas already. Now, you will remember when I did my Saturn accountability videos where I said stuff will start coming in for Trump and all of his cohorts from January 17th, 2023, which of course has started to happen. But Saturn is still retrograde. Saturn is a very powerful planet and he's in sidereal Aquarius at the moment. When Saturn is retrograde, he's even more powerful. And you remember you would have heard me saying karma will speed up. So what's happening is a lot of people's karmas are coming very quickly. If you're doing good stuff, yes, you know, you probably get rewarded for that as well faster than you normally would. But likewise for all the douchebaggery as well, there's a lot of comeuppance coming. Here we are, we see again, anytime I talk about the GOP, you would have seen it last night. What is the card that I get for them? The 10 of Cups. So this is them in a way like the false family. In this sense, normally this card is celebratory of family, success, dreams coming true. But when we're talking about politics, we know that this is the GOP and it's the fake family. So this is the GOP basically gathering around McCarthy, and now key and fateful decisions will be made. This is the Lovers. So the Lovers also deals with teamwork, partnership, all of that kind of stuff. And you also see, look, there's the angel up here about to proclaim. Now, this is the same angel that you would see blowing the trumpet, yeah, in judgment. So here, this is about key decisions and stuff going forward that the GOP are about to make, obviously, in regards to McCarthy. So we can see what is going on there. So let's see if McCarthy could even hold on to this job that he so wanted, which is the poison chalice of all poison chalices. Now let's look at Matt Gaetz, because he's obviously probably going to want to be speaker, and he sees his chance. Apparently they're going to need Democratic votes to oust McCarthy, so we'll have to see. I think it's obviously because McCarthy is so weak, it's probably in the Democrats' advantage to keep him exactly where he is, where the whole country can see that, you know, all of the cray-cray going on. They may not necessarily want to get rid of McCarthy, and they would rather him limp on, incompetent and ineffectual, because as a strategy, as it were, that does work better for the Democrats. How much good it is for the country, I don't know, but then who would the replacement be? So let's see, it's probably going to be Matt Gaetz that's probably going to want to put himself there, or MTG, I would imagine, someone loud and brash. But let's read on Gaetz. I'm going to read on Gaetz. Let's see what's coming up for him. Does he want the speakership? Let's see what cards he gets. If the Emperor comes up, or some of the King cards, or even pages giving messages, that could be something. Or the Chariot. I would also say as well, the Knight of Swords would also be pertinent. What else? Even the Tower. Let's have a look. Ah! Well. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? All right. You'll see. What's the whole reading about? Him making deals, yeah? 2 of Cups. So he's already negotiating potentially either his position to become speaker or someone else. Either way, the negotiations have begun already of how to kind of divide everything up in regards to McCarthy as speaker. So remember, I'm reading from Matt Gaetz now. He is going to all his alliances, allegiances, and he is negotiating, seeing who he can team up with. This could be he and MTG, yeah, potentially. Whoever else will listen. What is it that he wants? Yeah, maybe he wants to be the star. I mean, he's already one of the big movers and shakers anyway, because he's been holding up the whole process, and he comes out with his various different arguments. One argument that he does make, which is maybe just a statement of obvious truth, because this is a card of illumination, which is how America is spending more than what is getting in. But as AOC says in her video, it's like, well, if we're giving constant tax breaks to multi-billionaires and they're lobbying everyone, is it any wonder that we don't have any money? And let's not forget, Dr. Larange added 7 trillion on top of that debt. However, so this is kind of Matt Gaetz here, seeing himself, you know, as the sun, as illumination, as the golden child. Maybe he sees himself as the golden boy of the GOP. Do you remember I said we need to look out to see if the chariot turns up? Ding, 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 ding. As you know, I shuffle the cards and I pick them with my eyes closed. There is the chariot. He does have ambitions. Perhaps he does want to be speaker, knowing how weak McCarthy was with his conditions, eliciting everything that he could potentially get out of him, making him so weak that if he wished to usurp him potentially at some point, he could. And I think his moment has come. He has forced the hand of McCarthy, held the US economy to ransom along with the others, so that basically setting up McCarthy to fail so that maybe he or someone else could take the speakership position. That's how I'm reading that. Here it is in the middle. And further evidence of that is another major arcana card, the Star. Now we know this star can also be representative of America in general, but when we're talking about politics, remember when I pulled this as well for Ivanka, or very often it comes up for Donald, this can also speak about the person who wants to be the star, wants all of the attention on them, because I interpret these stars as spotlights as well. It can also do with healing and rejuvenation in the sense that the universe has got your back. But of course, we're talking about policies here, and we're talking about the likes of Matt Gaetz. So very often, this can also represent, for me, when talking about politics and the shady people in politics, the shadow of this for me is narcissism. So when we also take into account that we've got the sun here as well, literally, he does want to be this star of the GOP. And in a way, he kind of is. He's like a dark star because he has a lot more control than McCarthy. And why does he want to do it? Because he wants to come forward with what? His particular message, the Knight of Cups, which is also the card of seduction. It means making offers. So he will either want to take, he's probably going to be making offerings to those that wish to support him, because if we look, this is top and tailing it, in his plans, in his deals, he's going to be whispering sweet nothings to certain people in order to get his agenda across. This isn't so much about a message to the American people, which he may disguise it as. This is to his caucus, maybe to either plead his case in some way, but this has a lot to do with wooing and seduction. Hey, that McCarthy, he's terrible. No one can trust him. We know he's weak. You can trust me. Remember our deals and our partnerships? Remember what we planned all along? Maybe now is the time. Because when we look here in the middle, Matt Gaetz has got 3 major arcana, and all of them are powerful cards, but they're all considered positive. So it seems like to me that his machinations, his schemes, his backward dealings in order to get McCarthy up, but having it exceptionally weak so that if anything came forward, he could put his hand on the tiller, force a situation, and then he gets to be the speaker. Because remember, the Knight of Cups is all about messages, communication, emotions as well, offerings, seduction. Yeah, seduction. So I think McCarthy was set up for a fall by Matt Gaetz, who's probably the only one who's got, you know, half a brain and a few tentacles really actually working there. And I think he has seen his moment to strike. Let's see if it comes true. We'll have to see. I hope you like that. And of course, if you'd like a consultation with me, then of course you can visit hogarthglobalastrology.com. It will still say the archetypal blueprint, but that's my website. And thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share and click the bell notification. Thank you everyone as well for the support as well. And I hope you understood with the video about the ads and stuff. All right, bye for now. Mwah!